So here's where Otarmeni comes in, and this is the part that genuinely sounds like science fiction. The therapy uses a dual adeno-associated virus vector, a AAV for short. Before you panic at the word virus, let me reassure you, this virus has been engineered to be harmless. It cannot replicate. It cannot cause disease. Its entire purpose is to act as a molecular delivery truck. Inside that AAV is a functional, working copy of the OTOF-Gene, the one the patient's own DNA is missing. Now, here's the brilliant part. The OTOF gene is quite large, actually too large to fit inside a single AAV. So Regeneron scientists split the gene into two halves, packaged each half into a separate AAV particle, and engineered them to reassemble inside the cell. That's the dual-AAV approach. Two vehicles, one complete gene. Molecular engineering at its finest. But there's another elegant layer of precision here. Otarmeni uses a special myo-5 promoter, a genetic switch that ensures the OTOF gene only turns on inside inner hair cells, not in other tissues, just where it's needed. This is what we call cell type specificity, and it dramatically reduces the risk of off-target effects. The therapy is delivered through a single surgical procedure, an intracochlear infusion. Think of it as similar in approach to cochlear implant surgery. The fluid is injected directly into the cochlea, allowing the AAV to reach the inner hair cells efficiently. And here's the most remarkable part of all. It's a one-time treatment, one procedure, one dose, potentially a lifetime of hearing. Of course, a therapy this groundbreaking doesn't get approved on theory alone. Let's talk about the data, because the CHORD trial results are genuinely extraordinary. CHORD, which stands for its NCT identifier, but essentially is the pivotal Phase 1/2 clinical study, was a multi-center, open-label trial evaluating Otarmeni in children and adolescents aged 10 months to 16 years with confirmed biallelic OTOF mutations. Let's walk through the headline results. First, the primary endpoint. The trial asked, at 24 weeks post-treatment, how many patients could hear at 70 decibels hearing level, or decibel HL, on a standard pure tone audiometry test. For context, 70 decibels HL is roughly the level of normal conversation. Hearing at or below that threshold means you can function without a cochlear implant. The result? 80% of evaluable participants, 16 out of 20, hit that target. One more participant reached it by week 48. Second, objective confirmation. Science doesn't just take self-reported results at face value. So the trial also measured auditory brainstem response, or ABR, a test that directly measures the electrical signals traveling from the ear to the brain. It's objective. You can't fake it. At 24 weeks, 70% of participants, 14 out of 20, showed ABR responses at 90 decibels HL or better. The brain was receiving signals it had never received before. Third, sustained and normal hearing. Among 12 participants with at least 48 weeks of follow-up, something remarkable emerged. 42%, 5 out of 12 patients, achieved hearing in the normal range, 25 decibel HL or better. Normal, not improved, not functional, normal hearing, including the ability to detect whispered speech. And safety? No treatment-related adverse events, no serious adverse events. The surgical procedure was well tolerated. Now, these are small numbers, 20 evaluable patients. That's the reality of treating an ultra-rare disease. But the signal is clear, consistent, and clinically meaningful. This is exactly why the FDA's accelerated approval pathway exists for conditions with serious unmet need, where early data is compelling and confirmatory trials are ongoing. April 23, 2026, the FDA officially approved Otarmeni under its accelerated approval pathway. Let me unpack what that means, because accelerated approval sometimes gets misunderstood. Accelerated approval does not mean rushed or less rigorous. It means the FDA evaluated the drug based on a surrogate endpoint, in this case, improvement in hearing thresholds, that is reasonably likely to predict real clinical benefit. It's a pathway created specifically so patients with serious diseases don't have to wait years while the final dots are connected. Regeneron is still running the CHORD trial to collect longer-term data. That's part of the deal. Confirmatory evidence is still being gathered, but for the children who qualify today, waiting is no longer required. Otarmeni is indicated for pediatric and adult patients with severe to profound sensorineural hearing loss due to molecularly confirmed biallelic mutations in the OTOF gene. And here is a detail that stopped a lot of people in their tracks when the news broke. Regeneron has committed to providing Otarmeni at no cost to all eligible children in the United States. In an era of gene therapies priced at $3 million, $4 million, even higher, this is a statement. Regeneron's CEO, George Yancopoulos, emphasized that a therapy this targeted, for a condition this rare, should simply reach every child who needs it. Whatever you think about pharma pricing broadly, this decision deserves acknowledgement. Note, while the drug itself is provided free, out-of-pocket costs for the surgical administration procedure may still vary by institution and insurance, so families should have those conversations with their care teams. Now, so who actually qualifies for Otarmeni, and what does the path look like? Step 1. Genetic testing. The starting point is a molecular diagnosis. You need confirmed biallelic pathogenic variants in the OTOF gene. That means genetic testing. If your child has severe to profound hearing loss from birth and genetic testing hasn't been done yet, that's the first conversation to have with your audiologist or ENT specialist. Step 2. Referral to a specialized center. Otarmeni is not something your local clinic will administer. The intracochlear infusion is a surgical procedure requiring pediatric otolaryngology expertise and likely a cochlear implant surgery setup. Major academic medical centers and pediatric hearing specialty programs are the likely points of access. Step 3. Timing matters. The trial enrolled patients from 10 months of age. Early intervention in hearing is critically important. The brain's auditory pathways are most plastic in the first years of life. Earlier treatment is generally better. Step 4. Access support. Regeneron has stated they will work to ensure eligible children can access the therapy at no drug cost. For families outside the US, international availability will depend on regulatory approvals in other markets, which are expected to follow. Let's tackle some misconceptions, because these are already circulating online. Myth number 1. This cures all deafness. Fact: Otarmeni only works for OTOF-related hearing loss, a very specific genetic subtype caused by OTOF-Related deficiency. It does not treat deafness caused by noise damage, aging, meningitis, other genetic variants, or cochlear structural abnormalities. The vast majority of hearing loss has different causes. Myth number 2. Gene therapy is dangerous and experimental. Fact: AAV-based gene therapies have been studied for decades and have multiple FDA approvals across different diseases. The CHORD trial showed no treatment-related adverse events in participants. Experimental is no longer the right word. This is an approved medicine. Myth number 3. This will edit my child's DNA permanently, including their germline. Fact: AAV-based gene therapies like Otarmeni are non-integrating in the traditional sense. The delivered gene generally exists episomally, outside the chromosomes, inside the cell. Critically, this therapy targets inner hair cells, which are non-dividing somatic cells in the cochlea. There is no germline modification. The change does not pass to future generations. Myth number 4. If it works, why isn't the hearing permanent? What if the effect wears off? Fact: the trial data at 48 weeks shows sustained hearing in all prior responders. Since inner hair cells don't divide, the delivered gene is expected to persist long-term. However, Long-term durability beyond 4 years is still being studied. This is one reason the confirmatory trial continues. The data so far is promising, and no loss of effect has been observed. Now let's zoom out, because Otarmeni isn't just one drug. It's a signal flare for the entire field of medicine. This approval is the first gene therapy for any form of hearing loss in the world. And hearing loss affects 1.5 billion people globally, including 430 million with disabling levels of loss. The OTOF subtype is rare, but it proves the concept that gene therapy can restore cochlear function. That proof of concept opens the door. There are over 120 genes associated with hereditary hearing loss. Researchers are now actively developing gene therapies for other genetic subtypes. GJB2 mutations, the most common cause of genetic deafness worldwide, MYO7A, PCDH15, and more. The cochlea has been proven to be accessible. The AAV delivery system works. The next wave is already coming. Beyond hearing, the AAV gene therapy platform being refined here has applications across neurology, rare disease, ophthalmology, and more. Every approved gene therapy teaches us something about manufacturing, delivery, immune response, durability. Otarmeni adds to that cumulative knowledge. And here's a broader trend worth watching. Precision medicine, the shift from treating symptoms to treating root molecular causes. Otarmeni doesn't manage OTOF-Related deficiency. It fixes the underlying problem. That paradigm shift is slowly but fundamentally changing what medicine can do. We are still in the early innings, but innings like this, a deaf child hearing her mother's voice for the first time, those are the moments that make the innings worth playing. Let me land this plane with what actually matters if you or someone you know might be affected. Number 1. Know the condition. OTOF-related hearing loss is caused by biallelic mutations in the OTOF gene. It presents as severe to profound hearing loss from birth or early infancy, with intact cochlear structure. If this fits, genetic testing is the first step. Number 2, genetic testing is key. No genetic diagnosis equals no eligibility. Ask your audiologist, ENT, or pediatrician about comprehensive genetic hearing loss panels. Many are covered by insurance. Number 3, the drug is free, the procedure may not be. Regeneron is providing Otarmeni at no drug cost to eligible US patients. Contact your specialist about the full path to access, including surgical costs. Number 4, act early. Hearing development and auditory brain plasticity peak in the first 2 to 3 years of life. Earlier intervention tends to yield better outcomes. Don't wait. Number 5, this doesn't replace cochlear implants yet. For children who don't qualify genetically, cochlear implants remain an excellent option. Otarmeni is one solution for one specific subtype. It's not a competition. Number 6, follow the ongoing trials. The CHORD confirmatory trial is still enrolling. Long-term data will tell us more about durability. Stay informed, especially if you're outside the US and waiting for approvals in your country. We are living in one of the most remarkable eras in medical history. A child born deaf due to a single genetic mutation can now potentially hear because of a virus smaller than a grain of sand carrying the right piece of code delivered to exactly the right cells. That's not just science, that's hope with a mechanism. Otarmeni won't change every deaf child's life. It's a specific therapy for a specific condition, but it changes the conversation about what's possible, and that conversation is just getting started. If you found this video helpful, and I really hope you did, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our next deep dives. We cover new drug approvals, clinical trial breakdowns, and the science shaping the future of medicine in plain language that actually makes sense. Drop a comment below. What questions do you still have about Otarmeni or gene therapy for hearing loss? I read every single one, and your questions genuinely shape what we cover next. And if you know a family navigating a hearing loss diagnosis, share this video with them. You might be giving them exactly the information they've been searching for. I'll see you in the next one.